All right, guys, welcome back. This is William Agnew, Cellular Repair School, and what we're going to be doing in this particular video is we're going to be doing a full disassembly on the iPhone 4 GSM version. And again, you can tell GSM because this phone actually has a SIM card on the iPhone 4, okay? iPhone 4 GSM has the SIM card, and that's a great way to tell which one it is, whether it's a CDMA or a GSM for the iPhone 4 specifically. So we're going to be doing a full disassembly and reassembly of this. And I'm going to be showing you guys some of the parts that we've actually identified in previous videos. Now we're going to see how they actually remove and reinstall, okay? So you guys will get a great idea of where it comes from, how it goes in, how it comes out, actually how it works, okay? So we're going to be doing that. So if you look at the list above, what you'll see is the steps broken out 1 through 16, okay? And that's what I want you guys to do. Again, we're going to be using this particular tray, ice tray, very simple, very basic. We're going to be using the tray, and you can use any type of tray. It doesn't have to be an ice tray necessarily. It can be any tray that you, this is basically, so again, you can keep up with where you're at, especially for you newbies and you people who aren't, that experienced in doing these particular phones. This is going to help anybody who does any type of phone for the first time. All right, so it really doesn't matter how experienced you are, because you're always going to be doing phones for the first time. As long as you're doing repairing phones, you're always going to have a phone you've never done before. So this particular technique can help you keep up with your order and help you actually learn the order, so you become more proficient, faster, more productivity with less problems, and you miss less steps, and it's going to cause you again to be more productive. You're not going to have to go back and do things you missed or missed steps and things like that. Productivity is huge in this business, and if you're not being very productive, then you're losing a lot of money, because your customers in this business, they wanted their phones yesterday, okay? They want their phones yesterday. So the faster you can get them out, the better it's going to be for you and your business. And if you do it and approach it this way, especially you newbies or you're training somebody, then you're really going to be ahead of the curve. So again, we're going to number our trays 1 through 16. So you guys look at the top, you can see actually 16, and it's good because this actually has 16, these ice trays typically have 16 bins in them. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to remove our screws, okay? So our screws on the bottom right here, we're going to remove. And these screws, guys, sometimes they're held in, they're pentalobe screws, sometimes they're regular Phillips screws, okay? It just depends on when the phone's actually made. Apple started with regular Phillips screws, and then they started to manufacture these with what they call pentalobe screws. And I've already explained that in previous videos what pentalobe screws are. This particular phone right here has Phillips, so we're going to take our Phillips screwdriver. And again, guys, you want to have your Phillips screwdriver. You want to have kind of a little flathead mini screwdriver. Helps. Tweezers, definitely you need some tweezers for this. And iPad case opening tool comes in handy too, okay? So that's what we're gonna need for this particular phone. So let's go ahead and remove these screws. It's just 2 screws, all right? So we're gonna remove those 2 screws. That's 1, and that screw 1 goes into 1, if you look at the top, all right? And that's gonna help us keep up with our screws. Now, guys, this phone has 32 total screws, all right? And these screws are different sizes. If you are new at this and you haven't done this before, it's a must that you use this type of technique to keep up with your screws. Because if you don't, you will totally forget where those screws go. Now, next thing you want to do is you want to remove your case, your back casing, okay? And it just slides up. You basically push up on it, and it peels right off just like that, guys. Very simple, very easy. Again, this is made of glass like we identified in the parts video. And this can break also, and it's an easy replacement. So if you were replacing, at this point, if you were replacing this glass or even replacing this battery, it's an easy step, guys. And a lot of your customers have no idea how to change the battery because they really don't have the tools it takes to remove these screws. So a lot of times they'll bring it to you to do both, either change this or change this, all right? Very quick, very easy. This is actually one of those repairs that you can expedite. You can charge an expedite fee for, because you can do it in like 5 minutes, right? So typically what happens is you do first in, first out from a business standpoint. And again, if you guys want to know more about the business operations, you can always, if you haven't gotten our robust package or our full package where we teach you business, level 3 soldering, all of that kind of stuff, then if you haven't gotten that, then you can get that. If you offer an expedite to do this, it's a 5-minute fix, guys. You just take this off, boom, replace it, boom, put it back in. You can actually do it while the customer waits. So it's very simple, very easy. It's one of those repairs that is very quick, all right? So the next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna put this in an order that makes sense. All right, the next thing we're gonna do is remove our battery. So on this particular phone, guys, I'm gonna have you guys get a little closer so you can kind of see what's going on. So right here, guys, is your battery, okay? And right here is where your battery is connected. Now, the iPhone 4 is one of the only phones that actually has the battery connected. Most batteries have terminals that just kind of sit up against the logic board somewhere, or some battery terminals. But the iPhone 4 actually has a connector to the battery. So you actually have to remove this one screw. Okay, so we're going to remove that screw. And we're going to put that screw in number 2 once we get it out. Go ahead and get that screw out. And we're going to put that screw in number 2 so we can keep up with our screw. And then the next thing we're going to do is we're going to use our little plastic pick to release our battery. So we just pop that loose. Battery comes loose. Now there's a couple of things you guys will notice right here. All right. First thing you'll notice is this little clamp right here. This is your antenna clamp. And what it does is it pushes your antenna down. All right. So it keeps your antenna from coming off. All right. So that's something we're going to take off also. And we're also going to put this little clamp in number 2 in our battery tray. Okay. Once we get it off, this little clamp, we're going to take that little clamp and we're going to put it in number 2. All right. That way we can keep up with it. And now our battery is totally disconnected. So we can take something like our iPad case opening tool, and we can go ahead and we can get under this battery and we can just flip and lift it right out. And this battery comes right out. All right. There's our ion battery. So we can actually stick that in number 2 also. So now our battery is removed. So the next thing we want to do, guys, on the list, as you notice, we want to remove our EMI shield. So our EMI shield is located right up here at the top. And what you'll notice on your EMI shield is that you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 screws actually holding that in. And if you notice, all of those screws are different sizes, guys. So you want to take note, because all of these screws are going to go in the same bin, which is our EMI shield bin. But you really want to make sure where these screws go, because they are different sizes, okay? So you'll notice the screw on the very left is actually a logic board screw, but it's going through the EMI shield, so you have to remove it. And we always work from left to right. That's the way I like to work. So this first screw is going to go in our number 3 slot. Okay. Then we're going to remove the rest of our screws. Again, taking notice that our screws are different sizes. All right. Different size screws. Even this one at the top right here, guys, you'll notice it's a long screw. So when you pull that one out, you'll notice how much longer this one is. So like I said, they are very different, guys. This one at the very top, again, goes in 3. And then we have one more right here on the side that we're going to remove. And once we take that out, guys, we should be able to remove our EMI shield. So we just want to lift that EMI shield right off. EMI shield, all right? And what you'll notice is that EMI shield is covering all of your connectors to your board, all right? So we're going to go ahead and stick that EMI shield in number 3, okay? And the next thing we're going to do is we're going to remove our camera, okay? So our camera now, we can see our camera sitting right over here. So all we want to do is take our clip, get under the camera connector, disconnect it, and our camera pops right out. So we're going to go ahead and put our camera in number 4, all right? So what is our next step? Our next step is our antenna clip. So if you look down here at the very bottom, down here, where we took the screw out, what you guys will notice is the antenna clip. So we're going to go ahead and disconnect that antenna clip, all right? So disconnect that and fold it right back, all right? And so our next step is we're going to disconnect our logic board. Now, first thing we want to do in disconnecting our logic board is we want to disconnect all of the connectors to our logic board. So if you look at the top where its EMI shield was, we have a bunch of connectors. We have our connector for our audio jack and our power button. We have our connector for our camera, our back camera, okay? Because we have a front camera and a back camera. We just took the front camera out, okay? Okay. Actually, that's our back camera. So we just took our front camera. We still have a front camera in. So that's what we're disconnecting. And the proximity switch. So there's 3 connectors right here that we're disconnecting. All right. And then we have another connector right here, which is our digitizer and LCD. So we're going to disconnect those. All right. And again, always, if you can, use plastic on your board just to keep from potentially having ESD or anything destroyed. All right, so now we have everything disconnected right at the top, okay? Everything is now disconnected, so we're gonna work our way down. So the next thing we wanna do is we wanna come right here on the left side, and we wanna continue to disconnect. Now right here, right in the middle of your board on your GSM phone, you're gonna have 2 screws. So you're gonna go ahead and remove those screws. All right, and in the logic board, number 6, logic board tray. So we're gonna go ahead and put all our screws in our number 6 tray. Again, this is helping us keep up with where all of these screws go. And what you guys will notice is once we take those screws out, you have a little shield right here also that comes right up, comes right off. You're gonna put that in number 6 also. And then what you're gonna do is you're gonna disconnect the connector right here to your logic board, which this connector runs to your charger. All right, so you're just gonna pull that back and you're gonna push it over just like that, okay? You still can't take it off yet because your charging port is underneath your sound module, all right? So we have all of that disconnected. So the next thing we can do, and don't forget guys to always take out your SIM card, all right? So don't forget to take out your SIM card. Okay guys, so be sure before you remove your, or attempt to remove your logic board, that you always remove your SIM card. And all you need to do is take your SIM key or something like a paper clip, pop that right in. Uh-oh. And your SIM tray pops right out, okay? There's your SIM tray. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and put our SIM tray in our logic board also, okay? So guys, notice this screw right here at the top. This is what they call a flat screw, right? And you'll notice it's a little different, so you have to take your flathead screwdriver and go ahead and remove this screw that's on your board. All right, so you want to go ahead and remove all your screws from your board now. And you have a screw right here in the middle. All right, so now we're removing all of our board screws. We have a screw right here at the bottom. Remove that screw, goes in number 6. All right, and once you have all your screws removed, guys, you should be able to now lift your board right out. So we've disconnected everything and we removed all of our screws. Next thing you want to do is just lift that logic board right out, just like that. And what you guys will notice is your L-shaped logic board, okay? There you have it. So we're going to stick our logic board right in number 6. All right. So what's next on our list? Well, the next thing on our list is our sound module, all right, which is number 7. So our sound module, all we have to do is take our Phillips screwdriver, and what you'll notice is a screw on the right side over here. All you have to do is remove that screw. So once we remove that screw, all right, we get it loose, that sound module comes right out. There's your sound module. Comes right out. All right, that's your loudspeaker or sound module, okay? And your antenna, okay? And if you guys want to separate your antenna or buy your antenna separately, this little antenna on the top can also come right off and you can purchase that separately, all right? So it's totally up to you as to how you want to purchase it. All right, so that sound module goes in number 7, all right, with our screw. Number 8 is our charging port. So if you guys notice down here at the bottom, you'll notice your charging port, okay? So all we have to do to remove that charging port is you'll notice there's 2 screws at the very bottom. And this charging port also houses your microphone, okay? And it also has, yeah, that's it, just your microphone. So the next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and remove those 2 screws. So we have one on this right side. And that screw goes into number 8. Screw into number 8. All right. And once we get those out, should be able to now remove your charging port. And what you'll notice is on your charging port, and this is very kind of crucial right here, guys. So I'm gonna get you guys a little closer so you can see this. Now, what you want to notice is right here is where your home button is connected, and your home button has a little flip switch, or a little flip lift pin. So what you want to do is you want to lift it up. All right, so once you lift it up from this side, it lifts. You can then remove the home button ribbon. All right, and you'll see it come right out of the little slot, just like that. So we just removed it. You guys see that? We just removed this ribbon cable, which is our home button ribbon cable. So be sure that if you're ever removing this charging port and you're replacing it, you first disconnect your home button to not damage it, all right? And then one more thing you'll notice is that right here you have a little adhesive that's keeping this in. So you just take your little tweezers and you go right under it and you just lift that adhesive right off, all right? And it comes right out. And there you have it, okay? So there you have your microphone and your charging port. All right. So now that is our ribbon, our charging port that we've just removed that has our microphone on it also. So we're gonna go ahead and stick that into number 8 also. All right, so what do we have left? So next we have our corner screws. So the next thing, our corner screws. So guys, in this particular phone, you'll notice that in every corner you have a screw that needs to be removed. All right, you have a corner screw that needs to be removed. So what we have to do next is remove our vibrator. Okay, so the next thing we need to do is remove our vibrator so that we can get to those corner screws. So let's go ahead and remove our vibrator. So right here in the top right on the GSM phones, your vibrator is going to be located up here. If you had a CDMA phone, your vibrator would be located down here on the right side. So we're going to go ahead and remove our vibrator. All right. So number 7 is our vibrator. I'm sorry, number 9 is our vibrator. All right, so once we remove our vibrator, the next thing we're going to do is remove our corner screws. So if you look in each corner of this unit, what you'll notice is you have 4 screws in each corner. So you have a screw in each corner, which is totals 4 screws. So we're going to go ahead and remove those corner screws. All right. And this is what you'll notice. You have a screw right there, screw right here, screw right here, and a screw right here. So we're going to remove those screws. And those corner screws are going to go in number 10. Alrighty. So once we remove those corner screws, the next thing we're going to do, guys, is we're going to remove our side screws. Now, we're not really going to remove our side screws. What we're going to do is loosen these side screws. So what you'll notice is on both sides of this metal frame, or this mid-metal frame, you'll have screws. And these screws actually have washers on them. Now, you don't have to take these screws out. All you have to do is loosen these screws. So on this side, you have 1, 2, 3. And on this side, you have 1, 2, 3. So all you want to do is loosen each one of those screws. All right? Don't need to take them out. All you need to do is loosen them. So we're going to go ahead and loosen those screws. All right. So the next thing we're going to do, guys, is we're going to take our tweezers, and right under the corner of this digitizer, we're going to stick our tweezers in, and we're going to lift that digitizer right out. And if you have those screws released, And you should have no problem removing this digitizer. I just want to do it really carefully. Disconnect. And you want to be careful when pulling this apart, because what's running through this middle frame is your digitizer LCD ribbon cables. Now, if you're taking this off, you're probably going to be replacing it in most cases. So you don't have to be too careful with it, but always practice being careful when removing anything, just for good practice. All right, so there you have it, your LCD digitizer combo. Okay, that's it. And that is fused together, hence the name combo. So just remove that. That's step 11 or step 12. So our next step is to remove our home button. So if you look down here at the very bottom, guys, all you got to do to remove your home button is just grab it and kind of wiggle it right out, and it comes right out just like that. All right, so there's your home button. We're going to put that in our next tray. All right, so what is our next step? Our next step is our camera, our front camera. All right, so here's our camera on the front. So what we have to remove it via the back. So the way we remove this camera, guys, and I'm gonna have you guys come in really close so you can see this. And we're almost done with the full disassembly, guys. Again, this phone is very straightforward, very simple, very easy. So your camera is right here, and what you have on top of that camera is a metal covering. And all you have to do is take your tweezers, get underneath that covering, and lift it right out. And it pops right off just like that. And here it is. It's right here. There's that metal covering on your front camera. So we're going to go ahead and put that in our next tray. And then we should be able to remove that camera, no problem. That camera should just pop right out, just like that, guys. Camera comes right out, okay? I'm gonna put that right in there just like that, all right? And your front part of your camera on the front side might fall off, so you wanna put that in your camera tray also, all right? So what's next on the list? So we just removed our camera, all right? And the next thing is our volume flex. So if you look right over here on this side, guys, right over here on this side, we have the volume, we have the mute, and we have the headphone, all right? All of which is connected. Now, this is the part you really want to be careful, because if you look at the ribbon cables on this, guys, they are very small and easy to rip, very easy to rip. And if you notice, they're all on with adhesive, okay? So now we have basically to remove, we can actually remove the headphone jack right now. We just take our tweezers and kind of lift that right out. And it releases our headphone jack, all right? So we just released it, okay? Again, very careful of the ribbon cable. Now what we want to do is we want to come down here at the very bottom and lift up this ribbon cable. And if you lift this ribbon cable up, what you'll see underneath are screws, okay? So we just fold that back so we can get to our screws, and you guys will see 3 screws on the volume flex, okay? So you want to remove those 3 volume flex volume screws. So it's 3 of those. So we're going to go ahead and put those in our next slot. That's number 2. Alrighty. And number 3. All right. So we have those 3 removed. So as you notice, the volume buttons are now disconnected, and you can actually remove the volume set. Well, actually you can turn it over and push it right out. Just like that. When you push it out, it just comes right out. All right, there you have it, your volume key. All right, so we're gonna move on up next to our mute switch, and if you notice, your mute switch actually has 2 screws holding it in. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and remove those 2 mute screws for our next step, and we're gonna put that in step. And you can actually split this up too, guys, into, if you need to split it up into different, so you can keep up with the screw sizes, because the screw sizes are a little different between the mute switch and the volume. Okay, so we're gonna remove those 2. Once you remove those 2, guys, what will come off is this little clamp. So you guys will see this little clamp right here. This little clamp will come off. All right. So you just want to kind of keep that kind of separated also. All right. And once you do that, guys, the only thing that's holding this puppy in right now is adhesive still. So we can take our tweezers and we can kind of dig out that mute button. And you'll see that release. And then what you'll notice is the only thing that's holding this entire, assembly on now, guys, is adhesive right here. Okay? Adhesive right here. Now, if you're replacing this and you're taking it out, it shouldn't be a big deal, because if you break it, you're just going to put another one in anyway. But you guys really need to get practice on taking things out without breaking them. So in this step, we want to be really careful with removing this ribbon. So you could take something like your iPad case opening tool and just slide right under that ribbon. Just like that. You guys can see that. Slide right under that ribbon. To disconnect your ribbon without destroying it. All right. And we got a little bit more connected. Just gonna get that disconnected. We can go to this side. And we can do the same thing on this side. And there you have it, guys. Your assembly. Audio jack, volume assembly, totally removed. All right, so we're gonna put that in our next step, along with our mute button. All right. So the next thing we have, guys, the only thing we have left is the actual speaker and power assembly. So in order to disconnect that, you could actually remove the speaker by itself, the earpiece speaker. So if you want it, you can just go ahead and pop that out. But your earpiece speaker is connected to your power assembly or flex, okay? So my advice is to remove the entire assembly instead of just trying to pull the speaker itself out, unless you're replacing the whole thing, all right? Or replacing just the speaker. So what you can do is you can take your Phillips screwdriver, and right underneath, right here at the power switch, right underneath are 2 screws. So you're just going to remove those 2 screws. All right, and there's your next screw. So now once you get those 2 screws removed, you should be able to just disconnect your power button. And once you disconnect that, what you'll notice here, guys, is you'll notice that there's adhesive holding in this sensor. So you want to go ahead and separate that. And again, that's just adhesive, so you can separate that. And what you should be able to do after doing that is lift earpiece speaker right out. Get underneath and remove your assembly. And a lot of that is adhesive, guys. So you want to be very careful if you're not replacing this. But in most cases, the only reason why you would be taking this out is if you were replacing it. All right, and there you have it. There you have it, guys. Your power button assembly. Okay, so you're gonna stick that in your power button. And up here is your little power button switch. So you can go ahead and remove that. And there you have it. And there you have it, guys. A full disassembly of an iPhone 4. iPhone 4 GSM phone. All right, so what we're going to be doing in the next video is reinstalling everything we just removed. And all we're going to do is back out of our steps. And it should be pretty simple and pretty easy for us to do. All right, this is William Agnew, Cellular Repair School. I'll see you guys in the next video.